Yesterday was a very good day to be a Bundy. Federal court jury on Thursday acquitted anti-government militant leader Ammon Bundy and 6 followers on conspiracy charges stemming from their role in the armed takeover of a U.S. wildlife center in Oregon earlier this year. The standoff led to the shooting death of 1 protester by police they leave out while he was fleeing the scene and left parts of the refuge badly damaged. But despite that, the biggest, most important charges they were not convicted on. Now, there are a number of other charges that they also were not convicted on, some that will still go to trial at some point in the near future. We want to focus on the explanation for why it is that these charges were not able to stick to the members of the militia that took over this territory and held it while making threats against the public and against police officers in particular for several months. Here's a quote from juror number 4. "It was not lost on us that our verdict might inspire future actions that are regrettable, but that sort of thinking was not permitted when considering the charges before us." Referencing there the very real possibility that right-wing militias in the future will be more quick to do these sorts of territory occupation and threats of violence against people, since apparently if you're simply a right-wing militia and Caucasian, there will be no charges that stick against you. Goes on to say, juror 4, "We were not asked to judge on bullets and hurt feelings," which they lumped together there. Seems a bit weird to me. But rather,
really, you weren't asked to judge on bullets? If they fired bullets at cops, that's totally okay, I guess, if you're a white right-winger?
No bullets.
We're not asked to, I mean,
no bullets.
Attempted murder, is that what we're asked to judge on?
Right.
No,
Yes.
bullets. No, as long as you're white and right-wing, you can fire any bullets you like.
Yeah.
What do you know? Did the cops have hurt feelings? Meanwhile, you do a protest and you're African-American, they're going to crack your skull open, okay? But you didn't fire any bullets. You didn't fire any bullets.
Yes.
But hey, you were doing a protest, man. The other side, well, were cops' feelings hurt when we fired on them?
Yeah,
but okay. Who cares about the cops?
Really fast. Let me finish with the juror here because this is important. But no bullets, no hurt feelings. Rather, to decide if any agreement was made with an illegal object in mind. Did they have an illegal object in mind when they took over that territory?
That was the most serious charge. Was the
conspiracy?
Yeah.
Yes, to take the federal property. It seemed this basic high standard of proof was lost upon the prosecution throughout. So that's juror 4. Now, juror 11, who was dismissed after defense attorneys complained, insisted during an interview Friday that he was not biased from his time working for the Bureau of Land Management or as a corrections officer, but he knows he was the only juror leaning toward convicting the militants. The jury voted to acquit just hours after starting over with an alternate following his dismissal from the case. So the one guy who wanted there to be some charges against them, he was replaced because of his bias. You should also know that the lawyer for the Bundys was literally tackled to the floor in the court after some sort of argument that happened there during the proceedings.
We don't know, it's federal court, so reporters can be in there, but there are no cameras. But it just sounds like it's really hard to lose a federal case. But if you're going to lose, well done, Michael. Thanks. If you're going to lose one, it's a conspiracy case because they're trickier. But I mean, literally, the most serious charge: conspiracy to impede federal officers through intimidation, threats, or force. I mean, there's where your bullets come in. Impeding federal officers with guns. I mean, that's a threat. When you have a gun and you point it at a federal officer and you say, "Don't come here," it seems so plainly obvious to me that it is really one of those shocking awakening moments that you just don't know how the jury system works.
Yeah, but maybe we should turn to the videos at this point.
Yes, so here's the deal, guys. We're going to talk about the conspiracy, and there's overwhelming evidence on that as well. This is basically jury nullification. White right-wingers in that area going, I like these guys. These are good old boys. I like that they took that stuff. So, I'm just going to let them go. Because, as we were about to show you in the video, this is video of the takeover, some portions of the takeover there, and there's so much of this, we're just going to show you small snippets. Now, let's see if you can find, and the charges, remember, were conspiracy to impede federal officers through intimidation, threats, or force, and illegal possession of firearms in a federal facility. These videos shot in a federal facility they took over. Watch.
American people better wake up! Get here and fight for your country right now. It is on. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the militia comes after you, FBI? All you military that's been fighting for your country overseas, you can fight for your country right here in America. Get here. Get some. This is history in the making. There are no laws in this United States now. This is a free-for-all Armageddon. Any Leo or military or law enforcement or feds that stand up and fuck their oath, don't abide by their oath, are the enemy. If they stop you from getting here, kill them!
That seems fairly clear right there.
What do you mean? What do you mean firearms? What do you mean threat of force?
Yeah.
What do you mean on federal land?
Intimidation. I
don't see it. I just saw a white patriot there. That's the only thing I saw.
There was intimidation of both the spoken word and sung form, actually, in that one video. Multiple art forms of intimidation.
I am always struck by a couple things. That's the state where Portland is. And I'm always struck by how cold it is in Oregon.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
All right, now one more video for you guys. Let's see if we can figure out if there's any intimidation of firearms or any of that stuff here.
If you're receiving this transmission, if you see this, you should call out for arms to help us. We need help. They're probably going to raid us any minute. There's spy planes flying above, circling around, just gathering info. Counting how many people we have here.
Okay, come and aid us. Now, that goes towards something called a conspiracy. Now, the jury says, I didn't see any conspiracy. Well, I mean, I don't know what their intent was. Now, we just showed you videos where they said, our intent is to have an Armageddon, okay, and I want all of you guys to conspire with us. Come on in, and let's work together. Now, furthermore, you know that the Bundys, before they took the reserve over, they went to the local sheriff and said, we came up with a plan. We're going to take over some of your property because we are here to defend these two ranchers. Well, what is that if that's not a conspiracy? People working together. They even announced it to the local law enforcement. Then they were in there and they were telling people, send us supplies. Let's coordinate. You guys come in. Here's us working together. Okay. Afterwards, the reason they got caught in the first place is they left the federal land to go take over another county, which they also announced publicly. I've never seen a clearer case of a conspiracy. Conspiracy means two or more people working together towards an objective. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the definition of a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory like, oh man, they're going to land on the moon. No, it's a conspiracy as in two or more people coordinating their actions. And so...
Not guilty.
How? So...
The guy in the video was right. There's apparently no laws to break anymore.
Who was the judge? Was it Ito?
No, to that
Federal
point,
District Court?
to that
Pennsylvania,
point,
Ito?
the whole country up in arms when OJ was acquitted. Now, I don't think OJ should have been acquitted, and I was shocked and surprised by it, and I was against that, right? But I don't judge based on race. I thought, well, that guy did it. I don't care what his race is. There was ample evidence that he seemed to cut those two people's heads off, right? And the whole country's like, how could they acquit? It's the blacks on the jury who acquitted. I knew it. You see that? Now this happens. They're like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean whites who agree with the guys acquitting? There's no problem here. Look away, right? If you were outraged by the OJ acquittal, you should be...
Well, I got it. My Twitter feed is selective, obviously, but there was some significant outrage yesterday.
No. Well, yeah, I hear you. I'm referring to the guys who are most outraged by the OJ verdict.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, so be fair on both sides.
Obviously, we don't have much time, but let's make clear what's underlying all of this and a lot of people's problems with it. We showed you the two guys in the video. If those guys were named Ahmed and Mahmoud,
Not guilty, man. You got these jurors.
still not guilty?
These jurors are pure.
It would have been a
It's
different
so hard-
jury. It would have been a much different jury.
Hard
yeah.
to prove a conspiracy.
Hard to prove a
Okay.
conspiracy. If anybody stops you, come, brothers under Islam.
right.
If anybody stops you, police, military, kill them.
No,
Not guilty.
Hard to say.
And one
Hard to
final
say.
twist to that. One of the primary defenses put on by the Bundys and their co-conspirators was, well, these are religious beliefs. Imagine if Ahmed and Mahmoud were like, oh no, we took over your federal property with guns and threatened to murder all the government officials who came in because of our religious beliefs. Allah made us do it. That's okay,
Freedom
right?
of religion.
fine.
That's okay, right?
Freedom of religion is really important in America.
Okay, Tamir Rice and Crawford, both in Ohio, shot dead within 2 seconds. So these guys got 41 days. Tamir Rice, a 12-year-old, got 2 seconds, and he was not armed. These guys said, we are armed and we will murder you if you try to take back the property we stole from you. By the way, they also burn things, they destroy things. Apparently, you're allowed to do anything as long as you're white and right.
We have no idea what happened to the box of dildos that was sent to them. It hasn't turned up since.
Because the jury, if you told them that they are looking at this from a racial perspective, I am positive that they would be outraged. They'd say, no, what are you talking about? Of course not, right? Now, the reason is because they think, well, what do you mean? I know guys like that.
Yeah.
And guys like that, they don't mean any harm. Come on. That's Bob and John down the street. They're militia guys, and they're just blowing up some steam. Oh, Tyrone or Mohammed, I don't know. Whoa, goddamn, I'm so scared. They don't know, but like their instant reaction is, hey, we can't have those guys taking over federal. Are you kidding me? You think a bunch of Muslims just took over federal territory? But they don't realize that they're making racial or religious distinctions. Yeah. It's just a natural thing that they do. And so, like, I'm being overly fair and kind to the jury here, but I don't think they got in there and thought, let's be racist. Right? Yeah, I don't think they thought that at all, right?
It's implicit.
But if you can't recognize what's happening in this country, and that through our implicit biases, through who we associate with and empathize with, and who we do not empathize with, we have a two-tier justice system here where African Americans, Native Americans, right now in Standing Rock, Muslims, get a totally different treatment. And look, even if you're the most conservative guy in the world, you can go ahead and lie to yourself and the internet, et cetera, and say, no, I think if they were Muslim or black, they would have gotten the same exact treatment. But even in your heart, you know that isn't remotely true. You know that if the new Black Panther Party had taken over a federal building, you think we're going to let them hold it for 41 days? And afterwards go, oh, you threatened to kill all the cops? Don't worry about it, black folks. Go home. No, it's no big deal. You think we're going to let Muslims take a building for 41 days? And then afterwards say, oh, not guilty. Easy trial. Easy. Right away, once we get the meddlesome guy who was for the Christians, we got rid of him. The other jurors who were for the Muslims, and then the Muslims said we did it for Allah, not guilty. Do you really believe that? You don't believe that for a second. There's not a person in the country who believes that.
In America, there are massive protests when American Muslims try to occupy community centers they built. Yeah. There are protests in American cities over that.
The good news is you mentioned the lawyer who went nuts because the judge wouldn't release them right away, because at least the brothers, maybe others, but at least the brothers Ammon and Ryan Bundy, they still face charges in Nevada, so they're not going to be
2014.
They're not going to be released.
They should get a different prosecutor, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, this will be at least the prosecutor there in Nevada's got a template for how not to proceed.
That's true.
And so, by the way, you want to talk about white privilege? Even though they got off on charges that is inconceivable that anybody else would have gotten off on, their lawyer was outraged. How dare you not release my clients immediately after we just stole this trial when they are facing another trial? Now, how dare you? You're trying to impose the law by holding them on a separate charges that they are actually going to go to trial for.
You can't discriminate, Cenk, you can't discriminate against them simply because they keep breaking the law.
and so they had to restrain the lawyer but that's white privilege, thinking like, we can break any law we like, we just proved it to you, right? So how dare you even hold us in your goddamn courts when we are above the law? Whereas can you imagine again, a black lawyer on a Black Panther Party or a Muslim lawyer on a Muslim case going, why you're not releasing them right away? I'm going to come assault the judge. And then he'd be in Guantanamo. And you know it. The Young Turks isn't just us. It's also you guys. You make this show possible. And we want to thank you for it. And we want to grow together. We want to be too strong. TYTnetwork.com/join. Let's do it.